Jonathas, welcome to the BISP Education Podcast. What is the BISP Cruzeiro Football Academy?
Thank you very much for having me. It's a specialized program in football with the aim of develop football athletes that have the aim to become professional footballers or to later on go to universities.
And how did the academy get started?
So we get started in 2013. At that time I was working in the international department in Cruzeiro in Brazil. So when we received two students from BISP to do an exchange program. So at that time we didn't have any intention of having an international program outside of the country. So that clicked us with a great opportunity when we found out about BISP and the facilities and everything else. So I think it was a good link to raise up the idea to develop the football outside of the country.
Whose idea was it? Was it yourself going to directors at Cruzeiro?
Yeah, I was working as one of the in charge persons at the department. Then I had a director there, so we got together and then we put a plan and we create the program. So then obviously we had a few challenges in the beginning and how to bring the methodology out of the country and how to adapt that to a new place. So then, yeah, BSP was the first door that opened to us and was an amazing opportunity.
What was the academy like in the early days? How many students did you have in the first year?
So back in 2013, I think the first step when we got here, it was just to scan everything and try to design a program that fits into the school, into the culture and everything else. So we started very small. Now we've done trials in the beginning within our own students. Then we open up for possible scholarship students. So we start very, very small. I remember we started with 15 students in the beginning. And from that we progressed from what we are today.
How many students are there today?
So now we have 200 students in the program. In both genders and age groups from under 5s all the way to the under 19s in different categories. So it's growing, still growing. There's room for growth still, but I think we reach out a very good level now.
What do the under 5s do? How are they involved?
So under 5s are our entry door in the academy. Our main aim there is really to develop the passion for the game and the first steps into the sport. They only do once a week at the moment, so we're trying to push that a little bit more. But we can see the excitement, the first touch and everything at that age group is really fascinating to see how the young kids, they start to understand, they enjoy the game and all the emotions that involve it.
And who teaches the under 5s? Is it our BISP Cruzeiro coaches?
Yes, so all the age groups that we have right now, they are coached and they teach by our professional coaches. So that happens with the under 5s as well. We have helpers, normally our senior students, they are helping us with the young ones. And we have PE interns as well that help out on those sessions.
That's great. What have been some of the key successes of the academy so far?
So I think we have many successes throughout those past 8 years. And I think one, obviously, we a team sport. And then when we go out in tournaments, so the idea is to represent well the school. And we've been achieving a lot good results, winning tournaments and representing well the school. But more than that, playing the way we want. So and showing to everybody that's watching the games our playing style. That's one of our main points. On top of this, we have individual achievements, so which are the players that are moving on to professional careers, playing professional clubs in different places. as well players that are going to universities and throughout scholarship to carry on the education as well playing high level.
What is the style of play that you aim for with your teams?
So it's obviously that we are Brazilians, so we're trying to replicate here the kind of game that we grew up playing and watching, and obviously that we learned throughout our coach's career. And we try to adapt this to the school scenario, to the community we have, to the type of players we have here. And it's been successively going well. We have a different way to do it, so a different methods to run and to deliver the football here, which is it's very much based on the game. So what we see around, especially here in Asia, it's they try to teach football splitting by fundamentals. So every training session they pick a fundamental, passing for example, and they base the session on that. We do the opposite. We see football as a whole, and our starting point, it is the game. So we teach the game first, to then we teach the skills and the technical side. So we believe by doing this, the player will have better experiences and we will understand overall the game first before we specialize on the technical side of it. So it's more understand how to play first to then learn how to play. So it's playing by experiences, and they can have their own feedback with the mistakes that they're having, and as well they will have the coach's feedback on top of that.
Does that help generate the enthusiasm in the players as well, rather than doing individual fundamentals at the start?
I think so, because football is a dynamic game. So if you cut that too much, and if you stop too much, you will kind of will have problem the creative side of the game, because the plays they are linked with each other during the match. So if you stop too much, and then if you put them in lines too much and it's too much waiting, so the motivation levels will drop as well. So and then by playing the game, which is for us is the most important thing, so they will keep active all the time. They will understand more. There will be exposure more to what the games really demands from the players.
What's the Cruzeiro method?
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, it's based on the game. The initial point for us, it is the game. So it's crucial for us that every single training session there is a type of game involved. Not necessarily a formal game, but it's a game going on at the same time. So then we focus on that instead to focus on the technical side first. So we need to make sure that the kid understand how the game operates itself, to then we get into the details and on the technical side. So I think that's the main point that I can tell you.
There seem to be sort of movements in Europe or trends. So we had the tiki-taka, and now it's more running and game pressing. Is there a characteristic that defines Cruzeiro style?
I think every place have a different culture, and then if you go to South America, you're gonna watch a football game, you will see something. If you go to Europe, you're gonna be watching something different, in Asia as well. So everything it's around the culture of the place, around the characteristics of the players, not only physical but in all sense as well. So I think in Brazil especially, and what we're trying to bring here, we want to play the game well, so we want the kids have the ball and not being scared of the ball and not get rid of the ball, so by giving to them confidence to do that, and by having the players understand what they're doing and enjoying to have the ball and try create, and creativity is a big part of our methods as well, because obviously Brazil is well known to produce creative players, and then we always have a street football to help us with that, and then to create that freedom and that sense of creativity. So that's what we're trying to do here as well. Not too much be too technical on what we do. Obviously, the technical side, it is important, but most importantly, it is the way we play. It is the way the kids understand the game, the decision making that they have, and that's what we're trying to do here.
It sounds like to achieve that level of creativity, the students must have a lot of confidence. How do you create a culture where they're confident to experiment and to be creative or hold on to the ball?
Yeah, I think first thing, it all depends on the coaching style as well, because I think coaches, they must allow the kids to have mistakes, because we used to call football a mistake game. So everybody will have mistakes all the time. And by allowing them to have the mistakes and understand that's fine, it's part of the game, I think that's one thing. You're not going to have the coach hammer him because he has a passing mistake. So it's understandable. The second thing is to give tools to the players to perform well and to understand well. I think if they, by training, they will obviously improve, and by have the confidence to, on the technical side, they will try do more things, and we will encourage them to do that. Not only to play a safe game where they're gonna just pass the ball to the side. We will encourage them to try hard pass, or to try dribble past the opponent or stuff like that. So I think the confidence will come from the preparation and obviously from the way we want they play the game.
What was your personal background in football before becoming the director of football?
Right, as any younger kid in Brazil, we grew up in a football culture, and obviously with me wasn't different. So, and I think for me it was even more inspiring because I came from a football family. So my father was a football coach. So I kind of grew up following him everywhere he goes and all the football pitches. And then I went through all my youth development in Brazil. So I played football all the way. Then I became pro. So I played professional football for 2 years in Brazil. And then I decided to move on. So then I done my PE degree. So I'm a physical education teacher as well. So, and then I done all my qualifications on a football side. So then I start my career as a football coach, coaching in small clubs. Then I got a chance to move on to Cruzeiro as a youth coach as well. Then from that, I moved to the international department where everything starts.
And how long were you with our international department? Was that 2013?
Yeah, I was there only for 1 year, so it was a very quick period that I was working there. So as soon as I moved to the international program, obviously my personal expectation was to go abroad, because I got fascinated for different cultures and how I could personally bring all my experience, all my knowledge to other people around the world. So that was my personal goal at that stage. It's really go outside of the country and developed what I believe it is, a good way to play football.
And how about our other coaches? What are their qualifications and backgrounds?
Yeah, most of the coaches are PE teachers as well. So we have professional ex-footballers in our staff, and all have a football qualification. So some of them work at Cruzeiro as well. So we got to know each other from the past. So they all have professional football and academics background too.
What are some of the challenges of managing a football academy within a school environment?
It's a big difference between a club and a school environment, and I think that was one of the biggest challenges when I first arrived here, is to understand those differences. Obviously, when you're in a club, the player it's fully committed with football. So obviously he will have his academics that he will study, but in the club we only focus on football. And coming to the school, we have to see things in a more holistic way, where we have academics and we also have the boarding life for most of them. And we need to manage how to combine that in a healthy way, to make sure that the athlete or the student athlete, as we call them, can manage both in a high level, his football side and his academics. And as well, the school environment is different. It's more an educational environment, which is in the club. Sometimes you don't have time to do that, because the competition is super hard. And then the demand from, the environment push the players too hard. And obviously the coaches will have less patience and the players will have less time as well. So especially in Brazil, where it's a big population, everybody wants to become a professional footballer. So it's very competitive. So it's a very tough environment, a football club, if we compare with the school, because here the kids have more options as well. And we are preparing them in both sides. So we're preparing them for the academic life, and then in the future go to university. In the same hand, we're preparing them on a sports side to make sure that they can carry on both at the same time.
What are the benefits to the student of that, rather than just joining a club and downplaying the academics?
Yeah, I think when you just going for a club, you only have one choice. You want to become a professional player, and then we know that that's a very tricky way, because things can get out of your control pretty easily. Injury, or a poor decision from the club, or many different things can happen, and obviously is a competitive world. I think the biggest advantage that we have here is that we prepare the player for the future, the student athlete for the future, so he can carry on his studies in high quality, and then have an option if things do not go well football wise. He still can go to university and carry on his life. So I think for me, that's the key. That's the big difference in our program. We can combine both things with high quality.
How do you help a student balance those things at that high level?
I think it's all the matter of managing the time. It's achievable, because if you look at the timetable that they have in school and football, you would think that that could be too much. But I think when the student athletes, they get here, they learn about time management. So they kind of focus their energy towards those two areas, and things that can distract them throughout the day, they cut that off. So that allow them to really focus on those two things. Obviously, throughout the time here, we will have to adjust and manage things because every individual is different. So we try our best to accommodate, for example, when it's exam time, so we relieve a little bit the football trainings. And on the other hand, when we have competitions where we have to travel, the school also support us and allow the students to go and compete. So it's a kind of a work that we combine between academics and the sports to make sure that at the end of the day, our final product, it is the student athlete. So we need to look after the student athlete well-being. So we try to manage everything to make sure that you succeed in the future.
You mentioned a lot of the student athletes are boarders as well, boarding students. Are there particular benefits of being a boarding student?
I guess so. Obviously, we have many day students that they are on the comfort of the house and they have the parents around, and that's a positive point as well. They have that support daily. However, I think being in boarding, it kind of developed a sense of responsibility from the young ages on the kids, where they have to look after themselves, learn how to manage their time and everything. And by having everything in the same complex, it makes everything way easier because there's less wasting time with traveling, with traffic, and it's easy for, we control the nutrition of the students, easy to control the resting, the sleeping, and the recovering as well. So by having them in boarding, we also create a good sports culture because most of them live here. So they create that bond that they get together and that helps on the pitch as well. So that level of involvement that they have, the friendship, that helps as well when they play.
And what have some of our past students gone on to do following graduation?
Yeah, we have two pathways. Universities in US or in other areas. It became the first destination now. I think more and more parents and the students are understanding that become a professional football player. It is a reality, but it's very difficult as well. So now I think by having those players going to US, get their degree and still playing high level, and with a chance to be drafted to MLS league or moving on to professional careers after that, it is possible, it is achievable. And they can finish the school and do that, which is for professional football, it's a little bit different because the process have to start a bit earlier than that. So we have clubs that the entry door, it's 13 years old. So really, if a student wants to go to a professional club, sometimes you have to start the process a little bit earlier. That's not a rule. We have students moving on with 15, 16, and sometimes even after they graduated, there is still a chance, to join a football club. But most of the clubs, they rather have the player from the young ages, and then they form that player the way that they like or under their culture, instead to get 18 or 19 years old that will have no identification with the club. So they prefer to really form the player at the youth level in the club.
What are the scholarship opportunities in the US at the moment in football?
I think there are huge opportunities. We now reach out 15 student athletes that move on to the States. That's on the last 5 years. It's a big number. That's for both genders, and there are many universities in US, so there are great opportunities. And an important thing that we need to say that nowadays not just the sport that it's matter. The academics is really important if you want to get a scholarship in US. So that's why I think one of the benefits of our program is that we can prepare well our student athlete in both sense, academically and then in football as well.
And you mentioned that your academy offers scholarships as well. What do you look for in a potential scholarship recipient?
Yeah, it depends on the age. We are looking now for more younger athletes than older ones, for the fact that by having them here earlier, they can have better experiences and have a little bit more time to understand and to learn from our method, so we can have a better impact on them. So the younger ones, we're looking for future potential. So we obviously the technical side, it is one of the most important. We need to assess that, but we look at the player's experience as well, the overall understanding of the game. The physical aspects is the last thing that we look, because we know they all will grow and all will develop if they on the right environment. So obviously we look at the player's profile and everything related with the personality as well. So when they're older, we are looking to a player that it's kind of ready, and then we will just shape them up before the next move on their career. So for example, if you get the player to play here for the last 2 years to do IB, will shape the technique and then try give to them a little bit of the game understanding and more tactics, and then really just to prepare them on the routine of a college, for example, waking up in the mornings, having double sessions a day and preparing them physically for the next step. But we are looking more now to get a younger student athletes.
Do you believe success in football is more about natural talent or more the ability to train and learn?
Yeah, that's a big question, and people still debating about that. For me personally, talent is just a set of skills that each individual have for different things. And then for football, we will have students and with a good set of skills to play the game. But if you do not work on that, if you do not put the time, and if you not develop that set of skills, no matter how much is your potential, you're not going to reach a high level. And in another situation, you have kids that do not have that set of skills, but because of the training and the hard work they put, they could achieve a good level in the future. So I'm a firm believer of training and preparation. So I would say that obviously you get kids that they are naturally talented or naturally have a good set of skills to play the game. However, we need to make sure that that kid is in the right environment, and we prepare and make sure that we give everything that he needs to achieve what he wants in the future.
How much training does a student athlete need to put into football to have a chance of reaching that highest level?
Yeah, we split that by age groups. We respect the biological and physiological development of a child. So we do that throughout stages. And then we, especially in our primary school here, we encourage them to do all the sports as well, because we believe that's going to be good for their foundation. So the demands on the primary school, they're very multi-sporty based and guided than just towards football. But when they start to move on to secondary school, it's when we start to specialize them a little bit more. It's when the timing will be more focused and dedicated for the sport that they choose. So for football, we have 3 age groups in secondary, so under 14s, 16s, and under 18s. And then when they reach out the under 18s level, it's a daily training, sometimes twice a day. So it's about 8 trainings a week, 12 hours plus a game. So that's we believe that with that amount of hours, we will get where we want. Knowing that in the international school environment, you have a lot of holidays, which is make our life a bit complicated. That's why when we have the chance to have the students here, we need to take the best out of them. And the trainings are very intense as well, to make sure that we cover that period that they're going to be away during the holidays.
Summer holidays are a challenge for academics as well, and you notice student levels drop and have to build again in August or September. Is that the same problem then for football? Do you notice a dip?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 7-8 weeks, and if you think about the physical side, he will be completely detrained if he do not carry on with the sport. So we have a few strategies during the summer to tackle that situation. One, we're trying to attend tournaments. So we keep our players a little bit more, an extra week or 2 weeks with us. And we have training plans for the summer as well. So we guide the players on what they have to do, and then we monitoring that during the summer as well. And most of them, they get back to their houses and they get back to the old clubs, and that they can still training and playing there. We help them as well to find summer camp programs that they can enroll and train in, and make sure that they keep a decent level of fitness and football as well.
How has the academy developed over the years? How's it changed?
So it changed a lot. I think starting from our coaching staff, I start here by myself in the beginning, and then now we are 5 football coaches full-time in a school, plus a strength conditioning coach. And we have helpers that work with us with different age groups. So we have PE teachers helping us, we have PE interns helping us, and our own senior students, they help out with the younger ones as well, because it's very demanding. It's a large number of students. So starting from the staff, then obviously the number of participants, so that grew up massively. In the beginning, we didn't have the girls, so now we have the girls as well. So which kind of make almost 2 sports in terms of numbers. and that's been pretty good so far. In the beginning, we didn't have a set of competitions. So when I first got here, we had our soccer sevens and a few other competitions on our radar. So we start to participate and have taste in different competitions to try the level, to see if that fit to us. In the beginning, when I first arrived, pretty much the school only plays 7-a-side football. And I start to develop that, and now we play more 11-a-side, which is the real game. And we try to enter more in 11-a-side competitions than in a 7-a-side. And obviously international exposure, because being in Phuket in a small place, probably that's one of the big challenges we have. It is the competition. And because now our level raised up significantly, it's hard to have competitors to play us here. So we have to seek for different challenges. So now we get to travel a lot. Obviously that with the COVID restrictions now, it's make a little bit harder. But one of the highlights of our program, it is our traveling and its exposure that the kids get going out and play different places.
I know Cruzeiro has extended the contract with BISP, so we're looking forward to the future now. What expansion has there been of Cruzeiro International over the years, and what's the plans going forward?
Yeah, I'm also in charge of trying to develop the Cruzeiro brand across Asia, and we've been working very hard to make that happen, because that's one of the main aims of the club, is to have a brand position in Asia. So now we are starting a different academies in different places in the world. So we just launched our academy in Bangkok, which is gonna be great to us. It's gonna be a flow between games across the two academies and tournaments as well. So we open academy in Moscow, and we have an academy in the Philippines. We have a few in Japan, and on Kuwait as well. So we're looking at different places still, but that's been good movement around football. I think especially when things calm down with COVID, there will be more opportunities, and we are open to try develop. We just started a conversation also in Bhutan to try to set up a program there, in Malaysia as well. So I think we're trying to expand and create different places across Asia, which will benefit our network here, because we'll maximize potential students coming to BIS, which is BISP is the center of all those academy programs. It is the reference for everybody, is the model, so everybody is looking up to us now.
And you mentioned tournaments and events and competition. What do we have coming up in the near future?
Yeah, I think after Christmas, we are looking very much forward to attend competitions again. We'll start with our in-house games. So we get the friendlies going back here at the campus. Then we have our year tournament in Samui that we probably will attend there again in partnership with our friends from Fan Football. So there are a few competitions in Bangkok that we're lining up, and will depend on the restrictions to go there. But I think the highlight of the year will be our tournament in Spain. So we're trying to attend the Iber Cup in Spain this summer, and taking 4 age groups to that competition, which will be a fantastic experience and exposure to our players back into international football again. So we are preparing our players very hard for that competition. We've been there for 3 or 4 years, and we got very, very positive results. But most importantly, like I said in the beginning, is just the international exposure that we're going to give to our students attending that high caliber competition.
Which age groups are in the Iber Cup?
So we are aiming for under 14s, boys, under 16s and under 18s, and then under 19 girls.
Okay, and where do the teams come from to that competition?
So there are a lot of clubs from Spain, obviously, but all over Europe, Africa, some clubs from South America as well, and some clubs from Asia. It's a very international tournament, high level, and we are expecting a big challenge when we get there. And I think that's why we we always like to come back there is because it's always hard. It's a 5 days competition where we can play up to 7 games, so it's very demanding in terms of the physical side of it as well. It's a great fun for the kids because the parents go and they cheer, and then there's supporters and a lot of people watching as well. So it gives to them a good experience around the high level competition.
What was the beach soccer event this year, and is that going to be continued?
Yes, so we had our first beach soccer last year, and then we are preparing for the next one in February, 12 and 13 of Feb. This year we'll have other 2 sports that will be joining us. So we're going to have beach tennis and open water swim. So we will expand age groups this year. So last year we didn't take the seniors, and this year we will. And there's we aim for 150 competitors. That's going to be open for the whole school, which brings the community together. And we're expecting to have a great event in partnership with Laguna.
And finally, what are your plans for the academy going forward?
We have a few things that we obviously want to improve. Looking at our facilities, and we want to try and improve that for the next coming years, having a weather pitch, which is going to benefit us a lot due to the rainy season that we have. We are looking to get more staff, and then having more staff, we can increase the number of participants as well. And obviously try attend different competitions and keep preparing the players to achieve what they want, which is the professional football. Still developing network and contacts around clubs to open up doors. And we have a dream to host our own ID college tournament and camp here in BIS, where we're going to bring coaches from US to watch the players over here. So that's a part of plan for next year if everything goes well. So there's a lot of things that we're preparing. Hopefully that we can make those things happen in the near future.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, thank you for your time, Jonathas.
Thank you so much.